Welcome to Clicks and Coffee. I'm Alexander, and here we dive deep into the journeys of entrepreneurs and marketing innovators. Each episode, we uncover the challenges, triumphs, and unique strategies of our amazing guests, giving you valuable insights and inspiration. Our goal is to build a community of growth-oriented professionals ready to learn, collaborate, and thrive in the ever-evolving world of digital marketing. So whether you're here for the latest trends or looking for that next big idea, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. And today we've got Juan Seoane. Oops, shoot. How do you pronounce your last name? Seoane?
Seoane.
Yeah.
Seoane.
And today we've got Juan Seoane, the CEO of Commericx. How do you say Commericx? Commericx, okay. Today we've got Juan Seoane, the CEO of Commericx, joining us. Commericx designs strategies and offer cutting-edge AI-powered solution for customer engagement automation. More to come. Juan, thank you for being here.
Hi, Alexander. Thank you for having me.
All right. So everybody talks about AI in all of our episodes so far. Everybody's excited about AI and worried about AI. How did you start your career, and how did you get where you are today? Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience and how you got here today doing AI?
Sure, absolutely. So I started many years ago with IBM. I was a programmer at that time. I spent quite a few years with IBM, and at that time, it was a time when they started to sell services. And so I moved my career from being a programmer into being a project manager. And then, I took off in the corporate career, I would say, and started being a manager. And I also worked for several technology and consulting companies, multinational companies. For more than 15 years, I hold top management positions until 2021, that I started on my own business. I felt that it was the right time to connect back with my professional interests, and I was motivated to start doing things around AI. And a couple of years ago, I formed Commericx, where we use platforms based on AI to automate customer journeys.
Okay, and so how did you get that idea? So I know that a lot of people are talking about AI, but what specifically do you use AI for? Like, what is the type of AI do you implement for your customer, and how complicated is it to do that, and what does it help them with?
Sure. So AI has been around for many, many years, right? So, but since I would say 2022, that OpenAI announced ChatGPT, AI took off in a massive way. So last year, 2023, was a year where a lot of companies started adopting AI in a massive way. And I would say that probably most of the companies, prospects I'm talking with, probably 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 are trying to use AI in a way, are trying to experiment. It's still in an experimental, I would say, place, but it's taking off quite soon. And, it's taking off quite fast, I would say. Yes. Where we use AI typically is in those processes related to sales and marketing. Mm-hmm. However, you can also use AI in development, in R&D, and in other places, right? But what changed here with the generative AI is the fact that now generative AI is helping more in those places, in customer operations, in sales, and in development. Whereas in the past, different techniques of AI were probably helping, logistics and finance. So things change a little bit, right? And now you see AI everywhere. There's a lot of confusion as well in terms of AI, how you can use it. So we are trying to help our customers, build their journeys using AI, because there's a lot of opportunities, but there's also some risks that you need to be aware of. And that's where we, play a part, helping them establish a roadmap and identifying the platforms that they can adopt, or also identifying those initiatives that they can develop on their own or using a third party.
So it's really the idea is to help customer choose the correct solution and then implement it, and then also make sure that it works for their use case.
Absolutely.
Yes, because
there
there
you
was
can
a lot
have a
of
lot of
jokes
great
of
ideas, but
yeah, you saw that those people like using chatbots from ChatGPT for their business, but the people who implemented them didn't kind of gate them. So somebody was like making fun and asking like recipes on this chatbot of like a car company or something like that, and that was pretty funny.
So in terms of that, there's a lot of expectations around generative AI, and there are people using generative AI in different ways, but there are also some risks associated to that, and you need to be really aware of the risks, the benefits, and also the downfalls, right? In terms of latency, so because your customers are not going to be waiting more than 1 or 2 seconds for an answer, right? So you need to tune the solutions in order to be performant. In terms of security as well, because there may be private information going back and forth, and you need to make sure that you manage that information properly. Also, in terms of solutions that you can find around and how you adopt them, and as you said, you make them work in a correct way for your use case. So first, you need to identify your use case, and then you need to also make sure that it's worth implementing a solution. In other words, making a business case that's going to pay off. And then you need to implement it. And you may have a lot of good ideas, but at the end of the day, things need to be implemented, and that's where you need to make sure that things are done correctly in order to go live and provide a good service.
Okay, so it's really, I would say it's like it's not a long journey, but it's really in details when you go about people. So people come to you and say like, I want to implement AI, but it's like, okay, hold on a minute. Let's see if it makes sense. Let's measure it, and then let's see if it makes sense implementing it, because as you said, it's not just about plugging in ChatGPT in your website and then running with it. It's a little bit more complex than that. So, what are the so from your clients, what are the best? I would say like the best use case for the solution that you provide, and can you tell us a little bit? Maybe give us a little example of, I would say, your latest implementation and how it's helping that business.
Yes, absolutely. So I would say that there are some, industries like banking, telcos, health, that they have massive interactions with their customers on the customer support side, as well as on the, sales side, where I would say those use cases are typically well fit for the use of an virtual assistant with AI. So a virtual assistant with AI will assist these companies trying to automate most of the conversations. Probably more than 90% of the conversations,
Wow.
can be automated if the virtual assistant is properly configured, of course, and trained. And also, you reduce a lot of the abandon rate on the calls. Besides, you can also improve the customer experience and reduce costs. If you have a lot of people on the call center, trying to get all the calls, and you have a high volume of calls, probably those are the scenarios where these solutions better fit.
Oh, yeah, it's true. I heard about a Klarna, which is the buy now pay later company that they replaced, I think, most of the agents of, like, the for the basic, I would say, requests, and that helped them save 40 million, I think, in costs, and then and then increase the like the satisfaction and resolution rate by, I don't remember, like a crazy percentage, and all was done through AI, which I find to be kind of mind-blowing, that you can solve people's problem, and everybody has like a little bit of different, and everybody thing, and you still manage to do that.
Yes, I would say that probably expectations are that AI is going to replace around 60% of the work, right? However, that doesn't mean that 60% of the people are going to be replaced by AI, because probably that 60% is spread around activities, that people do. So maybe, of course, I use AI on my daily work, and probably I'm doing 30% of my work using AI, or could be replaced, but there's still a big portion of the work that I need to do manually. So these metrics do not translate directly into, how many people you will, reduce, because it's also a little bit of a sad story, right? We're going to be replaced by AI, which I think, it may happen in the long run. What certainly I would say would be a good advice is to, try to revamp capabilities within the organizations, to make sure that those people that may get affected or replaced by technology are also retrained and placed in other roles, right? And this is probably one of the, I would say, most important topics when we are consulting with a company and they want to introduce AI into their operations. Is not just identifying the initiatives that they may fit and putting them in a roadmap and making sure that they will pay off, but also taking a look inside the company, trying to identify the capabilities that need to be revamped and what's going to be the impact, right? And that's also one of the reasons that many projects fail, right? It's not the technology, but it's the I would say the learning curve that the organization needs to follow in order to make sure that those initiatives succeed. Because when you're introducing these initiatives, there are some gains, but there are also some losses, right? So we tend to put emphasis on the gains, but sometimes we forget about the losses, right? People who will be losing skills, for instance, or people who may be losing their jobs, right? So those are tensions within the organization that you need to make sure you also manage when you are in front of these initiatives.
And so, we were talking about making a business case about using AI. So typically, when potential client comes to you for that, what are the first steps? What are the first thing, I would say, do you look at their business before telling them, okay, let's use AI in your system? Because I know we were talking about also everything that is engagement with customer, with the client's customer, before going through that whole AI automation thing, right?
Right, yes. Typically, when we are in front of a customer who wants to implement AI because they may feel that, someone else is doing it, so I need to do it, right? Sometimes they know what they want to do. Some other times they really don't know what they want to do, or they are doing something and they have a hint that this is going to help them, right? So I would say that first thing is to identify the vision of the company. What's my vision, right, in terms of my business? Is this going to be disrupted because of AI? Where I want to go, right? And having that at the top of the map, right? We need to work with them to identify initiatives that are going to be related to that vision and are going to move them into the next step, right? And there are some external forces, maybe changing the industry, right? Let's say, for instance, as you said recently, the services industry, very intensive in terms of people. Something needs to be done, right? Because that's going to change in the short term. So how do we do that, right? How do we improve? How do we adopt AI in a way that we can provide better services at a better price? So once you identify those initiatives that need to be related to that vision, and once you also identify the external forces, you also need to take a look into your internal capabilities. Do we have capabilities to do this? What are the capabilities that we have? How can we start, right? Because it's very risky to start with a customer-facing application if you have never done this before. So you probably a good idea would be to pilot this internally, right? Having some sort of AI for your own workforce. And once you feel comfortable that you have the right capabilities, you identify the right initiatives, then you start rolling out little initiatives and measuring them in order to make sure that those initiatives are bringing back the value that you defined as your vision. That's how we do it typically.
No, it's a pretty intense process. And do you also use AI for so, because it seems to me that it's more of live conversation, like chats or calls, even, because I know that we now have also the possibility of having a voice AI, and like really like virtual, as as you said, virtual assistant answering the phone, but it's AI. Do you also use or implement AI for your customer for like SMS, emails, conversation?
So what we do is with Commericx is we try to identify some platforms that were out there in the market, probably in mature markets like Europe or the US, that have a good product market fit in Latin America, that they were also rooted on AI capabilities, and also that do have a good commercial fit in terms of the price, and also that they were not already present in the market, right? Or they were just starting. And we work with those platforms. One of them is helping us to do marketing automation around SMS, around email. So we run some marketing campaigns for our customers that want to grow organically using email, using SMS. Another important channel in Latin America, as you may know, is WhatsApp. So these tools also connect with WhatsApp. You can do outbound campaigns, email marketing campaigns. And we also use platforms to automate interactions in a conversational way. Those are typically referred as to chatbots, but chatbots do not have a good reputation. So I don't like to use the word chatbots, because the platforms that we use are really on the high end in terms of AI, and they can really provide very precise and accurate responses 90% of the times, right? So they're a little bit more than the typical chatbot that we are used to see on the market. They're well suited for banking, telcos, e-commerce, where there's a lot of conversations back and forth between customers. either around customer support or around marketing and sales. And those are the spaces where we tend to live, right? Those are the spaces within the customer engagement arena where Commericx, specializes.
What do you estimate the amount of people today in, I would say, e-commerce or digital services using AI to help, I would say, interaction with clients on a daily basis?
There are a lot of companies, already implementing chatbots, right? In the e-commerce space. However, I would say that there's more focus on the channels that they use, that on the intelligence of the AI assistant. That's typical on the e-commerce, I would say, space. So you will see a lot of solutions on the conversational space, but they are quite different, right? Because they either work on different channels, they either handle, voice, chat, images. So it's really kind of very difficult for a company out there to really choose the right solution for them. And that's where, Commericx comes in place, trying to help them identify what's the best solution for their business, in order to adopt something that perfectly fits their needs. So as I said, there are many companies out there. Some of them are already using some sort of conversational solution. However, in the conversational space, there's a wide range of solutions, from the low end to the high end, with different features and different functionalities, and also different prices.
And what is like the most important thing for any companies that want to implement AI? Like, what is the most important thing that you look at the first thing, without talking about budget, without talking about anything? Like, what is the main thing that you look at? Companies, okay, show me this and I'll tell you if I can do AI in your business. So like, if we don't have that, then like it's not even worth it.
That's a good question. I will try not to talk about budget, but we learned a lot last year, because we went out there and saying, hey, everyone needs a chatbot or a virtual assistant, and that was not the case. And it was a very particular year, 2023, because there was a lot of interest around generative AI and what can generative AI do for their business, right? So we had a lot of prospects and a lot of calls and a lot of demos. However, we did not convert a high quantity of them. And we learned also that that was due to the fact that even though there's a lot of interest in those kind of solutions, sometimes, the companies, our customers, don't do the job of identifying the use case and measuring the impact, the benefits, and the risks associated with that. So we realized that even though we thought that we did a good job, our customers were not doing their job of identifying the real use case that was really hurting them, the real pain point, measuring the pain point, how much this is worth it, right? Am I losing opportunities in sales? Can I provide a better service? Am I missing calls because, typically I pick up the phone between 9 and 5, and probably a guy out there trying to buy something from my company is, needing an answer, after work time, right, at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., even a Saturday or Sunday, and I can't provide that service. These companies probably have a nice form. They send them to the form. The prospect fills out the form, and at some point in time, they're going to answer. but that's not, a good customer experience, right? Customers, we expect immediate answer. So so I would say that probably the first thing that you need to look at if you want to implement these solutions is at your use case, and not just look at that, but measure the impact, the cost of the opportunity, and then you're ready, right? And I'm sure there are many use cases within the companies that really fit well for one of these solutions, but there are also other initiatives, ideas that will not pay off, and that we need to make sure that we identify those at the beginning and we don't pay attention, so we don't deviate our efforts in any of those initiatives.
So it's really having a clear vision of what you want to do with AI in your business, and not just say, I want AI in my business. I want AI in my business for this particular type. And then I guess after that, you can say, okay, maybe now that worked, let's try to move it to that part of the business.
Exactly. That's how it works, because there may be other things that you need to look at, right? Like your own capabilities, or the platform that you're choosing, or the vendors that will support you to implement and go through that journey. But before that, you need to do your own homework, right? And say, hey, listen, this is where we want to go as a company, and these are the initiatives, and this is how we're going to sequence the initiatives, and this is the benefit that we're going to get from these initiatives. Once you have that, then you move to the next stage, which is more, I would say, technological driven stage, where you need to choose the platform, or you need to choose the right vendor, where you need to assess your own capabilities, you need to create your own roadmap.
And you were talking about measurements, and us being a digital marketing agency, we love data and we love measuring. Could you give me without naming the company or anything, but what did you measure, or like, what's it, like one of your latest implementation, what did you guys measure, and what was the lift after implementing the solution, and like what specific KPIs you were using to measure that success?
Sure. Okay, so depending on the problem that we are facing, right? But typically these tools, or these platforms, I would say modern tools, handle a lot of metrics. One thing that I love is the fact that you can really fast find out where you are, not providing right answers to your prospects, for instance, right? And try to improve that part of the business, training your AI engine to provide a better answer, and improving the customer experience. And you can do that on the fly. That's one of the things, right? How you can improve the automation rate and take it to a level where it's, okay, typically above 90% of the calls. There will always be some interactions that will be, managed by a human at the end of the day, but that needs to be reduced. That's one of the things that we look at, is the level of, or the rate of automation. Another metric that we look at is if this is a phone call, right? What is the waiting time? So you don't want to have your customers waiting on the phone, right? Then how you can improve that, providing a fast answer, or taking out information in order to get back to them quite fast. That would be another measure in terms of the solutions around virtual assistants or AI. When we are talking about helping our customers with marketing automation, as you may know, there are other metrics, right? Like deliverability is one of the important metrics, probably the most important metrics. You need to make sure, if you're going to massively communicating to your audience out there, that you really deliver the messages, right? If you have a customer base of 500K contacts and you need to send out those emails, SMS, WhatsApps, it's not trivial to have a high deliverability rate, which is typically above 99%. Then there are other metrics like open rate, click-through rate, conversions, right, etc. And those would be, I would say, typical metrics for the marketing automation campaigns that we run mainly for e-commerce customers in Latin America, helping them to improve the conversions in an organical way.
And so, for example, when on the first part of your response, you were talking about waiting time. How much reduction did you see on for example, on one of your clients from where they were before the automation and where they are today with the automation? Because I think that's one of the biggest one, because one of the things that I hate is no matter which company you call and you say like, can I speak to an agent, because they only have 5 options or 3 options available on the menu. You're like, that's none of them. I need to speak to someone. And then you wait like 30 minutes. And sometimes I feel like they are doing it on purpose so you don't talk to anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's question ourselves why we need to talk to an agent, right? And I would say that we want to talk to an agent because we're not getting the right answer, or we're not getting it fast, right? So that's the root of the problem that these solutions really typically solve, right? You need to provide precise solutions and you need to do it fast. And that's not so easy. It's easy to say, but not easy to configure, but these solutions can do it. So it's not just replying fast, because a lot of chatbots, will reply you immediately, but maybe they will not give you the right answer. So then you end up saying, hey, listen, I want to talk to an agent, right? So you need to be precise, because, the response is going to be immediate. So those customers having a voice bot will reduce their waiting times dramatically, because sometimes, they may be 8-10 minutes waiting time on the phone. And if you use one of these solutions, you will be immediately, answered. So here again, the magic is not how fast, but how accurate. I bet you that if you get accurate answers, you will not want to talk to an agent, because most of us, there are studies saying that we really don't want to talk to an agent. Actually, nobody wants to talk on the phone now in Latin America. You rather, send a text message, especially, younger generations. They don't want to talk on the phone. You don't want to talk to people. You want to get the right answer, and fast. So that's what we do. And waiting times will be reduced automatically to, I would say, 0, right? So you better provide an accurate answer. And again, there may be still, a big portion of the interaction may be automated. And by design, you may want to probably bring those conversations to a human agent when you consider that needs to be taken care by an agent, because it's a complex situation, or probably you want to have that personal touch, right? But that needs to be by design, how you want to handle that, taking care of the customer experience since the beginning until the end.
Okay, so basically the metric is not how quickly we respond to the client, but how quickly we solve the problem. That's the new measure.
With these solutions, I would say the response is going to be automatic. You will not be waiting.
Okay.
So
and do you measure that?
Yes.
Do you do like so once you start implementing, do you measure that before implementing, of how quickly something gets solved, and then and then after the implementation, how quickly, and then measure the difference between the two?
Absolutely. We not just measure that, we need to, use that metrics in order to build a business case that will justify the investment, right? If you have a customer that has a lot of complaints because of the waiting time, we need to know all those metrics, right? Waiting time, volume of calls, what kind of calls they have, in order to make sure that we combine all that information and also provide a viable solution, not from a technical perspective, but also from a financial perspective to their problem.
And so now I'm gonna get into the more secret question, but like how much does it cost if you want to implement something like that? A ballpark of like what should people be ready to. No, but it's important because a lot of the time we say, oh yeah, you have a lot of solution that say, oh yeah, we're going to implement for $10 a month, and then you realize that's like that that just doesn't work. So it seems that like you have a good grasp on how to make it successful and how to make it efficient. What is the investment that people should look at if they really want to have a true solution that really works and that truly solve, as you said, a use case?
So again, it depends on the problem you want to solve. Then you choose the technology that better fits your situation, right? And there's some technologies that are fairly cheap out there because you don't need a lot of intelligence behind that, but you need to probably be present on channels like social media, WhatsApp, which, as I said, it's probably one
So
of
you're
the
talking about
most.
like a auto response in somebody leaves a message on the Facebook page and you have automations for that.
Exactly.
And
there
that's
are
fairly cheap.
fairly cheap solutions in order to do that, right? Typically for e-commerce, businesses. But when you move into more sophisticated scenarios like banking and telcos, health, where the precision of the answers is quite important because you're moving money from one account to another account, right, at this moment. So the level of AI or the level of sophistication that you need to use is quite different, right? So as I said before, there are many, many solutions out there, and they are quite different. Those solutions typically, or the cost of those solutions, is based on the number of interactions. So the more interactions you have, the more expensive it's gonna get. Typically, the way to sell these solutions is not because of the price, because it's cheap or it's expensive, but comparing the cost to either how much money you save or how much money you will earn in terms of more business or improving the customer experience. Because they could get also quite expensive, right? And different vendors have different pricing schemes. I would say that the common factor here would be the number of interactions that you will need to end up paying. It could range between 10 and 50 cents of a dollar per interaction, depending on the technology, depending on the situation. And also important to mention is that you will need to implement these solutions, and you will have an implementation cost, right? And then you will have an operations cost that making sure that you monitor your solution, that your solution is providing the right answers, that you're tuning your solutions to improve the automation rate, that you're implementing new use cases, you're adding content or you're adding knowledge to the solution and training it. And some companies do that on their own. Sorry about that. I accidentally touched my my video button. And some other companies rely on third parties like Commericx to implement and operate these solutions. And that's also a cost that you need to factor in when you are willing to adopt any of these solutions.
But let's say, for example, we have an e-commerce business that sells beauty products and that does about 10 million in sales. So let's say that's maybe 5,000 sales per month. What do you estimate, what people should be ready to pay as far as like implementation for, and now let's say just for website interaction. So as you say, like more of a chatting agent that would help with refunds, that would help with advising, which product to get, and any other ideas. What in your opinion would be like a ballpark cost for something like that just to implement it?
That's a very difficult answer,
Okay.
for me to provide, because again, it will range on the level of sophistication that e-commerce needs to adopt. I have seen really quick and dirty solutions, right, to be present on a channel, as I said, and probably that could be couple of $100, right? But I have also seen customers paying several thousands of dollars per month, right? So it will depend on the volume. It will depend on the complexity of what you want to do. And honestly, we have also different kind of technologies that we will probably recommend depending on the size of the business. So in Commericx, our experience is more with mid-size and enterprise grade companies. So we're not
Everything is very
extremely
customized, and yeah, very, very custom.
typically things are customized, and that's where we play a part in this thing, because we try to approach these projects in a very consultative way, right? There's not just a tool that we will implement and it's something that you can download from. No. We will help the customers identify their pain points, align them with their vision, identify their capabilities, helping them to adopt these solutions and make these solutions, succeed at the end of the day. And honestly, we have a wide range of sophistication in terms of our implementation. So it's a hard answer to give.
Okay, I'm just trying, to see so that way our listeners can kind of have a ballpark of getting started. But it sounds to me that maybe the first step is to use those cheaper tools just to kind of get accustomed to how things are working, and then use them, as you said, a small use case to be able to test and see how it functions and how you can tweak it, and then how you can really implement it on a wider scale in your business.
I would say it this way. I would say that you need to initially identify the right solution for you, and probably start implementing this gradually. And this is how we do this with our customers. So we will not go and implement the solution for each and every use case at the beginning. We will have a roadmap, and we will implement one solution or one use case and make sure that we succeed there. And then we start building up. And the cost, even though you may use, probably a high-end solution, given that the cost is variable. So if you implement one use case at the beginning, it's not going to be that expensive, right? At the end of the day, if you end up implementing, all of your interactions using the tool, and you have hundreds of thousands of interactions per month, probably you will be end up paying, more money. But the secret would be to choose the right platform since the beginning, and have the right roadmap to implement probably an MVP at the beginning, and take it from there, growing and growing, right, in an organic way.
All right. No, it totally makes sense. So, um, do you have a little secret on that you would like to share with our listeners on AI? A little something that, like, you know that other people don't, and that you're willing to share.
Well, I don't think I know something that somebody else doesn't know, honestly. It's very difficult, right? We think that we have a clear idea as to how to adopt technology, right? Reducing or trying to mitigate the risks of doing so. Because, as I said, there is a lot of expectations and a lot of confusion out there in terms of AI, how they can use it to improve the results. And I think that's where we thrive, right? Trying to help these customers adopt these technologies. And there may be different scenarios, right? We see customers that they really they have no idea as to what are the benefits, or how they can implement an AI solution, or even if they need to implement an AI solution. But we also have customers that have already started, some MVPs with AI, probably a couple of years ago or even more. They have already built some capabilities, but they are not sure how to scale that, right? And we help them trying to identify those paths. What I would say is that there's a lot of things going on, a lot of confusion. Everybody's talking about AI. Nobody knows everything, right? And AI is a really broad, I would say, space. My educational background comes from computer sciences, so I actually I started, and probably when I was studying, I was also doing AI several years ago, right? Because it's not something new, but it's quite different. And actually, if you're talking AI today, it's quite different than the AI that we would be talking two years ago. So maybe where we are now investing in Commericx, because we think it's going to be the next step for not just for us, but for the companies that we are trying to assist, is AI agents, right? AI agents is not something new, but it got some, let's say, popularity probably in 2023. So it's fairly new. These agents are entities that can perform tasks based on objectives that you give them, like a person, but it's not, of course, a person. They are algorithms, and they have the capability to interact with different LLMs, large language models out there, open source or commercial models. They can prioritize tasks, right, and make decisions. So there's a lot of hype around that at this moment, and it's new, and I think this is gonna change a lot the way in which even we do business in the following years, because there's going to be a lot of innovation around marketing and sales, as well as in other areas, right?
Okay. And so those agents are kind of like a middleware between the LLMs and then the customer.
You can use agents, to face your customer, for customer facing tasks, like, for instance, a bot, right? A conversational bot. You could build an AI agent to be conversational with your customers, but you can also build AI agents to perform, internal tasks, like, for instance, and we are at this moment experimenting, with an AI agent to do some sort of internal investigation on some key accounts that we want to target, and investigate key contacts within those accounts, and probably building some strategies to reach out to them in a very insightful way. But you could also use AI agents in your company, for instance, if you're a service company for collections, right? So it depends on the use case, but imagine of an entity that could perform almost like a human at this point in time. And I think it will get better and better as precision of the LLMs and the tools out there to build them get more massive and more open.
That's pretty crazy. I didn't I didn't imagine that was feasible. All right, cool. And is there a tool that is part of your daily routine that you cannot do without, that like you would be lost if you didn't have that tool or app or something?
Many tools. we use tools because we are 100% digital. Many times we are remote. So we are, constantly using tools. Of course, right?
What would be one
on...
that would be like I would say like your favorite that you cannot do without?
Yeah. Well, depends on what we are doing, right? If we are prospecting, selling, of course, we'll use email. We will use the platforms that we sell, right? We will also use tools like Build With, Apollo AI, Similar Web, and ChatGPT, of course, right? Or POE. Those are tools that we use when we are prospecting. Then when we are building content, of course, we use AI tools. Could be ChatGPT, could be any sort of AI prompt, depending on the occasion, to build content. Canva is also a tool that we use to build content. We like to not just do cold outreach to our customers, but also build some content, that hopefully is interesting for our audience. So I would say yes. And then, when we are building solutions, we use the tools that we sell a lot, right? So that's what we use.
That's pretty fascinating. So for everyone, if you're looking for an AI solution for your business, make sure first you have a use case, and then you can contact Juan. Your website is Commericx.com, just spelled as you can see it on the screen. And you're a bilingual company, so you can help really people in the US and then at the same time in Latin America. So it can be on one side or the other side, right? If a US company would like to set up, I would say, to start in Latin America, you could help them. And then if a company from Latin America would like to go to the US, you can help them as well, because you work in both languages.
Absolutely.
Super. So Juan, thank you so much. That was really very, very incredible to hear about like all of this and how quickly it's moving, and make sure also it's done in the right way. So I really encourage anybody looking for automation to contact Juan at Commericx.com. Juan, thank you so much for your time today, and I wish you amazing luck with your business in the future.
Thanks a lot, Alexander, for having me. It was great talking to you.